Remember, the 5th of November. Hey everyone, it's Villain's Man, bringing you session 13 of our D&D game, The Ancient Reborn. I'm your DM, JVD.
Hey guys, I'm Evan the Great for the Villains of Man. I'm playing Looter Silverstring, and we just fought some birds and feathers.
I'm the Bearded Wonder with the Villains of Man, and I'm playing Vesper Nordic, the Moon Elf.
I am Smiley, playing Order Dwighthammer, Inventor and Newfound Wizard.
And I'm Wes, playing Roland Ivor.
Alright, Mr. Smiley, give me a recap on what happened last time.
We made it to the town of Whitestone, was under siege by orcs. After sort of scaring them off, after what we found out was their fire giant leaders had already left. We entered the town, helped what we could. The very next day, this lovely palace of clouds that Order was terrified of parted stairs to the ground, in which, against Order's better judgment, everybody decided to walk up. And then we flew. He did not enjoy this. But we met the cloud giant Zephyros, who was very cryptic in the way he was saying he didn't want to really tell us anything, believing that fate will decide it. He gave us a free ride to Waterdeep, where
come on, take a free ride.
A few things happened along the way. Giant vultures, we saw some griffins. But as we arrived, this giant silver dragon appeared. Or was called a traitor because it was on a cloud giant thing.
Castle. Flying castle.
I keep saying different things.
It makes sense, you're a baffled dwarf, so I understand.
Oh yeah. But I lost my spot, thank you. Don't fuck me up, man.
The silver dragon.
Oh yes, thank you. But apparently the cloud giant is also a talking ass motherfucker because he convinced them all that this was all a mistake. Ooh, swamp, black mana. Green mana.
Deck of many things?
Red mana.
It is a deck of many things. Hey man, I'm going to use some Keeping It All Wizards of the Coast. Make a deck of many things out of match cards. Anyways, go ahead.
That's how we're all gonna die. I got fire under it.
After the misunderstanding was settled, we hopped onto a cloud and lowered down into Waterdeep, where we met Leosin again. And Orr started kissing the dog.
Back on land. You guys have arrived in Waterdeep. Leosin, you guys had seen him off in the distance waiting on you. He's greeted you, Luda, greeting with a hug.
Yeah.
Very deep embrace, I would take it.
Squeeze his ass a little.
He told you, there's not a lot of time basically for rest and relaxation. There's a meeting you guys are scheduled to attend. And he's, get washed up, clean yourselves, and,
Oh, you ought to be fine.
He's you're dwarf, he understands. But, it's of the utmost importance, so he's going to take you guys to your rooms so you can hurry and clean up, get some food in your belly, get a drink in you, and then head to this council. Vesper, you kind of went through a bit of a rough patch here at the end.
Yeah.
How you feeling about Orvustier not being able to come with you?
Vesper's pretty distraught about it. But she's going to see if there's not a way she can't get her here to Waterdeep.
Okay, how do you plan on doing this?
While we're grabbing some food real fast, I'll ask Luda if she can send her a message and tell her that I can send a coach or something for her if she wants to join us in Waterdeep. I just need to know where she is.
Luda?
The cost is not good. I will gladly do so.
Alright, so you cast this spell, but give me your words, Vesper. You got 25, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
25, so
Sending.
we'll send coach for you for Waterdeep. Just need your location. Location's one word.
Location, count syllables, huh?
Location, 3 words.
Location.
But
about
Sorry, you got left.
Anything else? You
Love
got-
Vesper.
Kid
Well,
by Cloud Giant. Say we was first on us. I'm sorry.
She said, no worries. Talked Grizzly into coming to Waterdeep. We'll be there in a few days. Love you, XOXO.
You see, Lewis, where that XOXO.
Interesting.
When did I come across giants?
Who knows?
I'm sorry. Okay, that's it.
So you sent this, and she's already talked to Grizzly, but the thing is, she never gave you when they had left, and it's basically taken you about a day and a half to get here. So, is there anything anybody else is wanting to rush to do? Something like Leosin sticking you to this place so you can clean up, gather yourselves. Like he's even saying, if you guys want some new garments to wear, we can hurry and get this,
After cleaning up, Roland is kind of knowing there's a meeting, he wants to hurry up and get there, but while waiting on everybody else to finish, he's going to go ahead and recall Tiberius.
All right. Where do you do this at?
Students.
You're in Waterdeep, City of Splendors. This place is huge.
Give those other truly splendors to look at, doing the middle of the damn street.
I thought about it, but I don't want to freak people out, so. Stables, maybe?
Huh?
At a Stables, maybe?
Yeah, you can do it there. First I thought you said Staples. I'm like, yeah, we can do that. But yeah, you can go to a stable and do it.
That way it don't look weird when someone walks out with a mount.
But it does kind of look weird to the stable keeper because you just walk in like, hey, I guess you're like, hey, can I just look at your horses? Or
You have 18 decks.
I already mentioned that I am interested in looking for barding, so after I summon him, I will ask the stable master if he knows where I can find some for Tiberius.
well, yeah, he's about the size of a horse. He's a pretty big elk, so you could buy something or do with it perfectly. So will somebody look up some barding in player's hand?
Barding?
Real quick, yeah. And then you can pay that off. So yeah. He does look at you strangely when you summon Tiberius here. But you can see he acts like it might be something he's never he's never seen it, but he might be used to such things. Doesn't really bother him. But yes, you can purchase some barding from him.
Cost is 4 times the arm. I would assume the price of the armor. Trying to see here.
Anyways, while you guys are looking up, Luda, Ord, is there anything you guys need to do before you do this council?
I don't think I have enough time to do anything I really want to work on.
Yeah, you don't have. I mean, you don't have time.
It's
I'm going to study my book.
4 times the equivalent.
I would like
humanoids, but
I try to get some clean clothes and clean my gear, like my violin and stuff like that.
Kind of armor.
Times,
And
I want to
times
look
4
representable.
per human.
I will say Ord would like some new clothes because he does want to get off his armor. Because for the dwarf, he actually tries to avoid being in it so much. He considers himself more of a merchant and a craftsman
Yeah.
above everything.
It's understandable. Do you clean up, Ord?
He's used to being having to because he knows how finicky humans are. So he will clean up.
All right.
He doesn't know who's he has an audience with, but he would like to make it in person in case it comes to future trade deals.
Okay. What about you, Roland? Do you wear your armor to this meeting?
Pretty much, yeah. I almost never take it off unless I have to.
Or you're gonna polish it at least? Change your undergarments? I mean, your armor's looking pretty rough. I mean, you've been on the road literally for 2 months.
Well,
And you've had that armor longer than this since the caves, really.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to waste too much time for the meeting. The meeting's important.
Well, on the way, I want to.
well, I rush
I
you.
will
Probably
clean it
got
up a
about
little
2 hours before you got to do this. So, I mean,
I want to get some stud leather.
okay, go ahead and buy some.
Can I get black?
Or whatever.
Okay. And then I want to get a
Yes,
cloak.
I am.
Cloak. I want a black. But can I get like a secret compartment made into the cloak?
Sure, yeah.
How much that can cost me?
Depends on how secretive you want it.
Like super secretive.
Like, I need to roll Perception 20 to see it.
How much that can cost?
20 gold.
20 gold? I'll do it.
That's fair enough then.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, you can get that. You can get something put in for that. Anybody else, real quick?
Buy me new garments.
And then I have 750 gold for half plate, so I'm good. And that's the only way to get my AC up any higher because like my dex is capped out by the armor.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on.
Oh, my AC is now 16.
Okay. Well, I will get that down later. So.
Remind me later to ask you a question.
In game or out of game?
It's about game, but it won't be for it. But it's not applied for a while.
So you need to ask me outside of the
Yeah.
game. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. Eventually, meet with Leosin. He's got a carriage for you guys. I would think maybe, or you might be the only person that's ever come to Waterdeep, coming from Reborn. You probably took a ship, unless you took it up towards like Aluskin or Port Last. Waterdeep would be the place.
If you remember, the family motto is "Stay the fuck away from Luskin." So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Unless you're not going to one of them shady cities. Well, they're kind of shitty. Yeah, Waterdeep would probably be the place you could port out of.
I feel or would have wanted to go to Waterdeep to begin with.
Exactly. Roland might have been here as a child. I don't know.
Yeah.
Family being around, maybe it's a possibility.
How much do you need for full plate?
I don't know, 350 more gold.
150?
You don't have to worry about me.
I was like, it would really hurt me. But I might do it.
But I am keeping track of
All right, so you take your carriage to a grand palace called the Lord's Palace. It's where all the lords of Waterdeep meet. The lords of Waterdeep are basically the government of the city. As you enter, you see very many adventurers and heroes of all times crowding the hall with the guards. I mean, it's almost shoulder to shoulder. Everybody's in a ruckus. Everybody seems to be talking about giants. Not once do you hear any mention of dragons. As Leosin guides you guys through, some of them size you up. Some are off for warm smiles and maybe a knowing nod. Some give you threatening glares. Any responses to any of that?
Good day, good day, good day. Or is being overly civil at this point in time.
Be like, hello.
We're just right beside each other doing that. Or is being polite, that's what's flipping everybody off.
It takes you down a hallway into a small waiting room. Oddly enough, the waiting room has no tables and no chairs. It might be no bigger than the room we are today. The guard shuts the door, and
Gas pours in.
it's kind of awkward.
Purposes, I'll pull a chair out my bag, Cody. I don't actually have a chair. I was saying.
Wilson kind of looks at you strange. Couple awkward, quiet minutes go by. Anybody say anything?
How many people's in here?
Just you guys and Leosin.
So, Leosin, what's this about?
It's quiet. Yeah.
He says, in due time, friend dwarf, just be patient.
Hey.
This is very, very important that you guys speak at this, and I've made arrangements along with Roland's parents, who will be very glad to see you, that you guys show up. A couple minutes, you hear on the door, and he says, "Let's go." But he doesn't move to the door. You turn around, and a secret door opens up in the back of this waiting room. Down a hallway lit by torches, and you come to a private meeting chamber. In this chamber, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 people in this room. 2 that you guys know for sure are Sir Salazar and Lady Thea. Roland of the Order of the Gauntlet, you guys do know them. There is a woman that you have heard of, Luda, but you have never met, but you just know her just by sight. It is Remalia Haventree. She's a very high-ranking member of the Harpers. There are a pair of female twin dwarfs. If anybody cares to roll me a history knowledge, maybe.
9.
22. What's the first name?
Which one?
The one before Haven Tree.
Give me a second, I will go back on.
18.
Okay, what do you need again?
Was there a name before Haven Tree?
No, that's what we're getting to right now.
Cause
Luda, it obviously makes sense that you know who these are. This is the Twin Queens Britches and Tanabritchen's battle handler of Gauntlegrim. They're the Twin Queens. Both married to King Brunorm Battlehammer themselves. As you guys lay eyes on them,
Big ass name.
you recognize the foaming mug standards on their armor that you guys had seen in the Cloud Castle on the dwarfs. There is a very sour looking male human. Knowledge is again history.
Oh,
21.
got a 40.
Wow, Roland, you are
That's me.
okay. Yeah, I got you. Oh, we got 2 20s on dice roll. This is Lord Dognut, never member of Neverwinter. He has helped raise that city through the chaos it's been through in the last couple of decades through a volcano erupting and destroying the place. He's helped rebuild it. He gives is a Dalgut, Dajdagult. Never Ember.
basically Neverwinter, Neverwinter.
So
It is Never Ember of Neverwinter.
Oh, okay.
I go for
He gives you guys a very sour look when you come in. There is a elf. Everybody roll me history knowledge. You might as well just take some disadvantage.
Damn, 20
Jesus,
again.
you are on it.
I got 13.
Disadvantage?
She got 9.
No. Wow. You just keep getting worse and worse.
Technically, she would probably know most of these people.
This is Terran Thunderspell's Hornblade of Silvery Moon. He's very high ranking in the town of Silvery Moon.
Just that Roland's not
You
paying
just put
attention.
Thunderspells, yeah. You might just be happy to see your parents.
He's like, Mommy, Daddy.
It's true. She
But,
hasn't seen
here's the thing.
Salazar in a long time.
Yeah, you look at them and they don't even return looks at you. They're very focused on what's going on. That shows you how important this whole thing is. There's also one more, if you guys would care to roll again.
What's he look
Oh, you'll see. It's a human elf.
14.
like? Did not roll high at the time. 9.
9.
14.
Rolling?
1.
Okay.
Again.
You three realize this is Marshal Older Ravengard of Baldur's Gate. He's a high-ranking commander of the men of Baldur's Gate. And as you enter, Leosin introduces every one of them. And Lord Neverember is like, and who exactly are you?
Greenfields Company.
I think it.
Greenfields Company. We have a bunch of farmers here.
I don't know, farmers that kill
If you'll
dragons.
survive, this will be a
Maybe.
bit more
Um,
appropriate.
you can automatically tell that everybody just kind of looks his way and does not care that he is here. You can obviously tell he is the Sour Grape here.
I want to pull out a dragon scale, toss it on like their little table.
Oh yeah, they've got a huge table here.
Yeah,
There's there's a spot for all of
To
you
us,
sit.
it's a
I'll
little
just toss it.
compared to our egos.
Trinkets, you could buy that at any market.
We go down the green list, you'll see the round head.
Hey, I thought you had the bag. I was about to be like, just pull that.
I
Yeah.
thought that's where the guards go back to send it back down the greenest.
No, did you?
Yeah.
And he tells you, even if that's real, he's like, you go strive the beast that come from Gauntlegrim. And he looks at the Twin Queens. And they look at you like, you got a point.
Maybe, yeah. Sure, they're bigger dragons.
But as you said, with this farmers and merchants, except for him.
And he tells you, care to introduce yourself?
You know who I am.
No, he doesn't.
That's all I say to him.
Bond. James Bond.
Probably gives you a very stern look when you say that. You automatically can tell he sees you're being disrespectful.
I see that and I understand what he's trying to say. So I give him a small nod and I turn to, what's this other guy's name?
Which one?
The one that just asked me, and you are?
This is Lord Dogman of Neverwinter, or Neverwinter.
I'll turn to him and I'll give him a slight bow and I'll say, I am Roland Ivor, member of the Order of the Gauntlet, Knight of Torm.
He says, so we automatically should give this boy favor because his parents sit here.
Man, you're a peach.
He tells you, hold your tongue. You're only here for questioning.
Questioning what?
He says, obviously, the Roland Ivor's parents seem to think that you guys can help persuade here the Lords of Alliance that we should chase the cult of the dragon. He says that very jokingly. When there are the threat of fire giants and frost giants, hill giants roaming the north.
I'd rather take my chances with the Johns, to be honest. Give me trade jobs.
He will tell, they seem to think you're doing a wonderful job. Why should I?
Well, I mean, I guess.
Why do you gotta brag on us?
You know, guess we could retire and just let you take care of the dragons.
No.
Terran Thunder spell Hornblade, he steps up, he's like, quiet please. He's like,
Hey.
please introduce yourselves. We all apologize for Lord Neverember's behavior. He's a bit sour.
Obviously.
Out of character, I just wrote Dick by his name.
Hey,
I didn't even do that to that one merchant.
so
But I'll go ahead since he's being courteous, and I'll return, and I'll kind of give him a nod and be like, I'm Vesper Nort.
I am Roland Whitehammer of Clan Whitehammer of Meribor.
Roland's already introduced himself.
Luda Silverstring at Boulder's Gate. This is my adventuring party. As he said earlier, the Greenfields Company. We have been tracking the cult of dragon all throughout the land.
The flag.
Waving around.
I'm telling you, we have been tracking them all throughout the land, month journey. I'm telling you that the threat is real, and I get my bag and I have all these papers because I always write shit, because I'm a detective basically. I throw it on the table and I tell them that there's not just giants, there's dragons, and there's not the one with the tooth we fought, that was a baby one. There's giant dragons, gargoyles, and they're big enough to scoop up full treasures of gold and burn cities to the ground in a matter of moments. This is a real threat, and it's not to take lightly.
Technically, it wasn't a baby dragon, it was like a half-grown dragon. Just gonna throw that out there, gotta correct you.
Terran Hornblade kind of wiggles his finger towards your papers, and they kind of shuffle themselves and stack themselves, and they come and land in front of you.
I forgot you kept mentioning that.
I used to have maps and everything when I first started.
Renalia Haventree, she offers you a nod and a smile, and she says, please, spare no details in your story. Many here would like to hear it and are curious if we may have another problem on our hands. Marshal Older Ravengard, he speaks up, he's like, yes, Leosin has said that you guys had left Baldur's Gate, and if any ill-begotten things had fell upon you, I feel that is my problem. I'm sorry. He's like, if I would to have maybe stepped up guard duty, things would have not left my city's walls. You have my sincere apologies.
Can I ask you a question concerning the trek up here? Do you know anything about a gargoyle?
He said, yes, there was a man apparently in Baldur's Gate that had left with your caravan that heard a gargoyle. But I assure you the thing was safely caged while in the city.
Well, the court was, she really thought they had a caravan. There was a lot of suspicion and paranoia running rampant for about the last half of the trip.
Or the gargoyle.
The gargoyle actually wasn't the problem. Is that the man would never speak. He never would say anything. When the Tetris finally broke, we insisted on seeing what was inside the box. And he flipped out. He was underneath a compulsion or something. He ended up dying from it.
As you're telling your story, roll me a wisdom save. As you're telling this part of your story, which you'll continue on in a moment, you guys notice that Orid is stumbling over his words. He's stuttering a lot. He squints his eyes like he's trying to remember things. And in your head, you remember long ago when this all started, you heard these voices and you couldn't remember what they were. You didn't know the language. You hear them again.
That's sour.
But continue on with your story.
There was
But it's almost like a loud pounding in your head.
the guard got away with whatever package it was hired to carry, but the man died from the compulsion the second it happened. I felt like you used to be aware if you were tied to the person. We buried them at the side of the road.
No, he's like, by the reports I've got of all the caravans that's left from Baldur's Gate after you guys, it's like I've never once seen that man on any trip before then.
This fellow, the side they call it.
The only information I got is that
voice.
he came from somewhere south.
Well, did you talk to any of the travelers?
He said, no, my duties require higher attention throughout Baldur's Gate. And
But when they came here to Waterdeep.
he said, no, we have not spoke to anyone. Like Ostin has, and he did warn us of the dragon and that you had proof of such a thing.
If you happen to have noticed at all that the caravan was much smaller when it returned here.
Yes.
We were attacked by three
ancients, or three extremely large giants.
extremely large dragons.
Each bearing a rider.
A black, a blue,
And a white.
And a
or
white.
was it a blue? Yeah, and a white.
Yeah.
They made off with about half the caravan's wagons. That was the court was using the traffic there at ill-gotten gains.
And then a smaller green dragon came, and we were able to kill it, or it dealt the death blow to it.
It was the one that ransacked Greenest, my home, I guess you could say.
We sent its head back to Green Nest as a memorial to those who have passed away in the attack.
My friend Perry died in Greenest from the dragon.
You see everybody at the table kind of look around at each other. Disbelief, a little shock.
Dragons definitely considered to work together.
Remelia Havendry, she kind of motions forward, and you see there's a guard at a door. He turns, opens the door, and an older man, probably in his 50s, steps in. History knowledge. Hey, you should know this. So it's good.
22.
For once, Ludo knows something.
Yeah.
19.
Don't you have a,
He wears the garb of what is called a purple dragon knight. They're top-notch badasses from Chromia. And
Remember this 3.5?
and he says, so you believe this to be the cult of the dragon?
we found that in the caves.
We found-
that they made a nest by Greenest.
Do you have any more of the amulets?
We had about 5.
What's the name of the leader
Bunch of them carrying these.
the family was talking about?
So we got
The symbol of
You've
Tiamat,
had these,
I believe.
he's had these for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got them on the caravan.
He looks at you.
Several-
Lord never remember speaks of her. He's like, not this again. He's like, we went over this a dozen times. And he said, he tells you,
Several cult members were carrying these along with stolen valuables that the dragons took off with.
he looks
wagons.
confused and is like, and you're sure these large dragons were alive?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He says,
They wiped out most of the caravan.
Well, it's a good thing. It's weird that you should mention that. One of the riders,
We had
Thought
thought
we had
we
killed.
defeated in battle. He's a dragonborn,
half dragon.
half dragon.
Blue
What
one.
was it?
He's the one that took my sword.
okay.
I'm trying to think of the name
Your
of that.
family.
Perhaps we used to go back to
Remember
the
the boy
stuff
that died?
It's
Family
not.
killed him with
It's
what
alright.
names?
I don't know where
They
it's
know.
Oh, the
It's
native.
yeah.
They said that their master, whoever it was,
Hey.
what's his name, starts with R.
Razmir
Rasmir.
Yeah, we bring up Razmir's name.
and Mordath.
They said that
I tell
Rasmir.
Razmir, whoever he is in the cult, he controls most of the cultists on here.
Yeah.
You guys are giving him Modath, Razmir, he looks lost and all of it. He's like, and you're sure these large dragons were alive? Because that makes no sense. He's like,
How was the size of us them told?
he says the cult of the dragon doesn't deal with live dragons. The cult of the dragons worship and bring dragons back from the dead. He said they create dracoliches in the world. And he's like,
Maybe these dragons were attacking the cult, taking their goat from them.
Maybe they have.
That makes no sense. They would never.
It doesn't make sense, but that's what we saw. That's what happened.
He tells you, and
This is all even a sour taste in my mouth.
he said, well, the dragons, the cult of the dragon being this far west in Faroon is almost unheard of.
We've been tracking them since Green Nest.
You can send people there to check it out.
They've been
It's
ransacking
been months
villages
now, right?
all over the place down south.
Sending their loot up north.
Lord Neverember steps in again if you can't catch a pattern going on there, and he was like, have we even decided that we can trust this guy? He's not even here for the west coast of the Sword Coast. He's more worried about Cromir, and a big argument breaks out. The twin queens of Gauntlet Grim, they begin to side with Lord Neverember. See, Terran Hornblade does. Marshal Older Ravengard and Romelia Haventree and your parents side up with this unknown knight.
So that's like
There's an argument over trusting him or not.
Well,
I should speak up
yeah,
and say, if the
If
cult
you're going to
is
speak
successful,
up to catch someone's attention at the time, you need to roll me a persuasion. Because this is getting very heated. Hold up, you hold up. No, you just can't muster enough to say. I mean, it's you've not seen your parents this heated in a very long time, Roland. Or
just shoot a firebolt up in the sun.
well, you have a guy here called Thunderspells. You might want to watch that.
be like, everybody quiet.
Well, you want to do roll
I
order?
always want to start yelling.
Go for it.
Just roll persuasion.
Yes, persuasion.
Just shoot it like a madman.
How big is this room?
It's a good size.
Yeah,
room.
like-
I'd say it's a good 30 by 30
Yeah.
room.
Give it to the elf.
What do you got?
I only got 6. I rolled
Okay, or what are you trying to do?
I'm just gonna be like,
Everybody, calm down.
had a speech thought on everything, damn it.
12.
You need a 15.
No.
We got that so easily.
What we're on?
Roll shit.
Your persuasion trying to calm
feel
these
louder
guys
than you guys.
down.
I know way too.
They're arguing over this Purple Dragon Knight's allegiance.
I'm the last one to give us a shot, and everybody's trying to get everybody shut up. I'm going to yell, let the Dragon Knight speak.
He's not a dragon.
Oh, rolled like one away. I
The purple
can
dragon
catch it, but it'll probably get me killed.
How about I just grab you guys?
Find
and
the
I'm
largest
just gonna be like, I think
concentration
we
of
should
these
just
squabbling
leave.
people, and I'm gonna drop a zone of
This
truth
isn't
on
solving
them.
anything.
So nobody's gonna
Bureaucratic
be
bullshit.
speaking any like, well, what if if they don't, if it's not true, then they can't.
I'm gonna tell
put
you
it out
guys
there.
for.
I'm gonna tell the Ocean that
I was-
if they don't
okay.
accept this, I'm getting tired of the bureaucratic bullshit.
Hold up. You go to cast this spell.
Oh shit.
That was devastating.
Terran Thunderspells Hornblade, as soon as you get your spell off, you see him start quickly whipping his hands around.
Yeah.
He counterspells at the same time. You don't even see him pull his wand, and he shoots it, and he webs you to the wall. When he does this, he's yelling assassin. And boom, webs you right to the wall.
What are you acting on? What are you doing?
I'm just trying to cast the
So
spell.
everybody would, nobody be able to tell any falsehoods.
We're talking about people that I'm assuming we're having this conversation in the middle of the.
Well, if
We're
there's
talking about people
anybody in
that
the group-
livelihoods rely on falsehood.
If
That's
there's
good on
anybody
that.
in the group that is
Yeah.
secretly aligned with the cult and they're trying to weave lies into this to confuse anybody,
Oh, the skeleton did be a list one. Like this is an actual conversation we're having. I'm just saying this.
He does this, webs you to the wall. You guys see orange rolling gets poured from you guys. Web to the wall. You see weapons drawn because
See, that's
he's
why I
yelled
didn't
out
cross the
assassin.
counter to get their attention. Important people always overreact.
if nothing else, it did draw the attention of everybody that was squabbling. So
It's very true. Hornblade tells your parents your son needs to learn his place. He does not realize exactly the significance of this meeting.
With the people
Do
that's
you
involved.
understand me, boy?
Well, if there's no
We
further
have
questions,
political leaders from
then
across
I
the
think
Sword
that we're
Coast.
done here. We'll go back to tracking the cult of the dragon.
I never remember cut you off. He says, you're done when we say you're done.
Well, you can kill me, but I'm done with the bureaucratic bullshit.
He says, you're more deeper in this than what you believe.
Well, then I'm fixing to leave if we can't work out.
Leolith tells you, silence, Vesper, please. Calm down. You don't realize what's going on outside of the world right now.
Yeah, the whole world's doomed.
May I say
He
something?
says, and then your attitude now doesn't help. It's bad enough they have to deal with his.
May I say something? Trust has been the greatest issue since Stephen Greenus. We've been betrayed multiple times. The fact that we're not to trust a man from Cornwall is the least of our issues. You've got giants killing people in the north, dragons in the down south. Get your heads out of your asses and start thinking what's best for the people for a change.
The Queen's, Malabridge is about, whenever she speaks up, she's like, but him and Cormyr offer no support in this war.
But if we can't stop the dragons, Cromir and us, we all die.
You say that, and this knight, who never has got a chance to introduce himself, and was
I
asked
apologize, good sir. What is
he
it?
doesn't matter at the moment. He tells you, we protect Cormyr.
Fair enough. Look out for number one.
And he says, do you not yourself?
Everybody does.
Indeed.
Which is why they don't want to trust you.
And he was like, it's understandable, but as you can tell, everybody seems to look out for themselves first.
This is true, but we need to figure this out. We need to figure it out fast.
It also doesn't get anything solved. It just causes more problems.
Can I get the map out, like any kind of map that I may have with the city layout?
The city of
Well,
Waterdeep?
the
There is a
yeah.
giant map of the north in this room.
I go to the map.
When you look, you notice there are a bunch of marked areas on the map.
Wow, so
From just by what little harbor work you have done before you had left to find this
yeah,
Mr. Nasty guy, you're kind of figuring maybe every spot up there was either an attack or a hot spot. And there's quite a few marked up there.
And these are the giants.
Mm-hmm.
I memorized this for a little bit before I go up to the map, and I recognize these are probably hot spots. And I start putting different marks on all the locations that we went to that's been attacked, and where we've been on the caravan, and where we got attacked by giants, and where we got attacked by dragons. I go to the river where we saw the big boat. I start marking all this stuff on the map.
You explain this to somebody?
Yes, I start explaining what I'm doing to everybody, and I'm saying their forces are gathering. They're on foot. They're on there. They got fire giants. They got orcs. I was like, something ain't adding up. If they're having an army this big and we don't work together, then we might as well bury ourselves alive right now.
Roll me a persuasion.
So we have giants.
I'm at least needing a 15.
I want to bring this up to everybody. I just want to bring up the question:
15,
what if
14.
the dragons and the giants are getting ready or are already at war with each other, or they're preparing for a war with each
They
other?
know not to like each other. Even God did differences.
You guys say this. Maybe they've been at war with each other. Tana Bridges Battlehammer speak up and she says, many millennia ago, the dragons and giants were ancient enemies. They ruled all the world.
Right. And what if that ancient battle is coming back?
She says, then even more of a reason for everyone in this room to settle their differences aside.
What any of you are informed of the incident with the Zephyros?
Roll me an insight.
Name dropping.
7. Actually, I think it's like 9, but yeah.
Okay, you keep this entire time these voices, but you don't understand this language. It's still in your head. Now, what did you just ask? Oh, the cloud giant. No. No, because Leosin, you guys just got a hold of him the day before. This meeting's today.
Were any of you informed how we came to Waterdeep from Neptune?
Nice.
Nightstone. Which, by the way, that was also attacked by fire.
Terran Horn's blade will speak up. He says, obviously, a cloud giant.
Zephyros.
By the cloud that apparently was here at the city.
He was overly polite. He all gave us food, lodgings for the night.
But he was also very. He wasn't taking sides with anybody. He just told us suddenly that fate had told him to come and give us a boon, a ride to a destination, and he said it was our one transportation that he would give us. But apparently he was not taking sides with anybody. He wouldn't give us, anything he knew. He just said fate had led him to that.
Kind of sounds like lavish things. He didn't ask for any gold. But more importantly, we had asked him if he knew anything about what was going on. The only thing he said was, "A giant will never speak to the ancient enemy."
Malab Bridges will speak up. We are just as much their ancient enemy as dragons. If you were to speak to him, that could refer to you.
He wasn't
We
hostile
shared
toward
jokes.
us.
He gave us food.
He gave us food. A ride here to Waterdeep.
Terran Hornblade will speak up. He's like, but it does sound like he was very cryptic.
He was very cryptic,
I
but
think he was a bit mad, to be
he
honest.
had no malice toward
You
anybody.
could tell there was something off about
I don't
him.
think he had any malice toward anybody though.
He's like, some cloud giants do very little of them do, I should say.
Cloud giants are about as predictable as that I'm going to be honest.
Exactly, they're about as predictable as a wizard.
Yeah.
He's like, so maybe maybe this isn't a war room, and then if they're staying out of it.
That's just one giant.
Yeah, Lord never speaks up. He's like, then maybe giants are just being giants.
Well,
Is
we
it
had,
normal for a
we
hill
had an
giant?
attack on our caravan early on where some hill giants came out of the woods.
Coordinated assault. One hill giant, two ogres per wagon. They're grabbing up any kind of foodstuffs only. Not even
They
working
didn't
on killing
take treasure. They didn't kill
ogres
anybody.
They're working here trying to kill people.
Didn't they have ogres with them?
Yeah,
Yeah, two ogres, one hill giant per wagon. Once the hill giant grabbed the food, he yelled for the ogres and retreated. The ogres covered his escape. Hill giants do not think like this. They're idiotic. The stupidest of all giants.
they're being
You see
led
a lot
by
of
somebody.
nods to all that. Luda, you're up to redo this one more time?
While they're telling all this, it's kind of great because I'm up here on this map.
Yeah, like
putting all these-
that's why I like we're
putting all
covering.
these spots, and I start showing them this is where this happened, this is where this happened, this is where this happened, and I want to show them all the connecting dots from here to there.
There is one that is marked up there, and that is where you guys had seen the rafts.
Yeah.
Because you did,
Yeah.
that was something you all immediately had sent out. You
Also,
start-
also, next time we're going on a caravan, he's ever coming with us, so it's fucking awesome.
So, Luda, you are looking at this map.
Yes.
With black X's, there are 4 towns marked. There is Parnas, Jolkun, Calling Horns, and Lelone. I can give it to you another time you never.
I just wrote 4 towns X and then
Just
the
give it
number
to me.
eight.
Okay.
Yeah,
You get the color of the X?
black.
Okay.
Can we ask about those?
Well, you're still
We're not aware
arguing
of-
here.
Oh, we're not watching.
Yeah,
I
you're
think we
doing
moved
what
from
you
an
were just doing
argument
while she's
to a-
doing this.
Okay.
I think we moved from an argument to a debate at this point. Because there's nowhere yelling.
White X's. Wait, no. These are red X's. Fire Shear. Port Last. Wait, did I tell you already? Yeah, these are white. I'm looking at the wrong thing. These are white X's. Fire Shear, Port Last.
And these are towns too?
Yes. Rhine Shander. Helm's Hold.
Ooh, that's what he had.
Xanthalar's Keep. Red X's. Tribor. Nesme.
Well, I thought I thought we just got done with red X's.
No, wait. I told you I would.
You changed it like 3
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the wrong thing here. The red X's, Tribor, Nesme, Calling Horns, Hawk's Nest. Green X's, Ulevin, Jolkun, Longfort, Antful. And you notice a lot of those are very close to Waterdeep. You're also noticing some towns have multiple colored X's on them.
Perhaps you should ask what the X's mean.
You think that, and you see thunder spells give you a nod, and you kind of slump it to the ground as this web dissipates.
Somebody
I'll
was
give
even
him a bow and thank him after he lets me
He gives
down.
you one of them pokes at his eyes, and he pokes at you, and you can tell he is serious.
I'll actually walk over to him and extend my hand and say, I will not do anything.
You go to the table, and he
anything like
shakes
that
his
again.
head no as soon as you go to move around the table. He just shakes his head.
I still tell him I will not try to do anything like that again.
He'll just give you a nod. So, you've noticed this on this table as they're going over this whole giant and dragon ancient enemy thing.
Start trying to piece it all together, red, black, white, green, in my mind, and X's and towns. These towns I recognize that we've been through.
These are all north of Daggerford.
Okay, all north
I'll
of
walk over there with him and I'll
close
look
to
at
Waterdeep.
it with him, and I'll suggest perhaps these were maybe the color of the dragons that attacked there, or well, maybe
John.
each X
Actually,
represents a
John.
different
I'm
kind
up there
of
looking at it, I'm drawing all our stuff out, and then I get to these, and I turn and I ask everybody in the room, does anybody know what these X's are for? Besides the one that I wrote on the map.
Never remember last, and it's kind of like a almost insult to you. He was like, attacks. That's what's been going on while you've been guarding a caravan.
I'm gonna look at the map and be like, well, we assumed it's attacks, but what kind of attacks? Just giants?
Father speaks up, Salazar. He's like, I'll go over everything that's happened. He starts pointing out the Black X. Parnas survived the cult raid by giving up everything of value, seeing how it was only a small village. It has been reported safe. This happened on the 28th of Myrtle. This happened a long time ago.
And that was the cult?
The cult headed north. That's what everybody was assuming, the cult. Jokun suffered much like Greenus. They were overran with the cult, taking everything of value and some slaves. A green dragon assaulted the town. This happened on the 6th of Kythor. Cult headed north. This is all just reports.
Some more cult noise.
Calling Horns was attacked but repelled very well due to mercenaries who make a living there protecting the people from the Evermores. Anybody know what the Evermores are? If you've read the Dritz books, you know what the Evermores are. It's full of trolls. It's a giant swamp. But the cult did manage to get away with half the town's valuables. This happened first of Kythor. Cult was reported heading west. Leland was sacked just an hour after the same black dragon was chased off at Thornhold. These are two towns very close to each other because where you're looking at Leon, you're looking at Thornhold, and it might be a day's journey. But the same black dragon was reported in those spots. Almost everything was lost there. This attack is what worries us the most, and he's talking about the Lord's Alliance, due to how fast the dragon moved from one place to another. Where their cult went during this was unknown. This was the 2nd of Kythor. Those who survived, we have set up in the Golden Fields. History knowledge.
20. 18.
Look at that.
I'll take it back. I'm just
Ward and Luda, you know, the Golden Fields basically feeds the city of Waterdeep. It's a gigantic walled community. It's a big farming community. It's well protected. That is the Black X's. He goes on to the White X's. Frost Giants. Fire Shear. Townfolk fled to mines or into the tundra. Those in the caves were blocked by a boulder that was put there by Frost Giants as the town was looted. This was the 17th of Flame Rule. Port Last hit the harbor and nearby buildings. Few lives were lost by the docks, or the docks were ruined. This was the 23rd of Flame Rule. They came back on the 29th and left very little standing and fewer left to tell the tale. Brian Shander, after meeting with town figureheads who knew not of this Artemis Cimber the frost giants were looking for. The giants grew angry and threw stones at the walls. Finally, a young man presented himself whom no one knew, and after a brief conversation with the giants, they took him prisoner and left. This was 25th of Flame Rule. Helm's Hold. This was a siege from the 25th to the 27th of Flame Rule. Giants sacked caravans south of the town before the Order of the Gilded Eye, who you would know is basically the Order of the Gauntlet. It's just another sect. Managed to kill 7 of the giants while the others ran off. Xanthalar's Keep. This is the 13th of Elias. Along with a bunch of hobgoblins and bugbears, giants managed to sneak them in and steal a dwarf named Larg as the giants attacked the city walls. No damage to the village was really sustained, but none have a clue why he was taken. Some suspect he was tied to the human that was taken at Brian Shander.
What was his profession?
He was an adventurer, and this was a adventuring group had died. This was a story, and they'd set him up to work in the stables.
What was that? Still frost giants?
This is all frost giants.
This doesn't sound like them.
Red X's, fire giants. All the fire giants. Okay, let me back up a little. All these frost giants attacks are all down the Sword Coast. They don't hardly ever come in. It's all by
They
ship.
don't repeat the same place.
Yes. Oh, no, they did once.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's not. That's weird.
Doesn't add up.
Yeah. Fire giants marked with red X's have been digging up giant parts. Sound familiar?
The blade of Nightstone.
Yeah. Tribor marched to the center of town with orcs riding nasty birds and small fire demons. Most fled for their lives or hid, so casualties were few. Unfortunately, many buildings were destroyed or ruined by fire. This was the 18th of Elias. Nesme, a Harper spy, watched known Zen agents conversate with a fire giant and make some sort of deal. This was the 11th of Elias. Calling Horns sacked 2 months after the cult had attacked it. This time they didn't fare well. Another piece of whatever they were looking for was found. This was the 9th of Elias. Hawk's Nest attacked wagons to the west of the settlement who were carrying wages to those who were rebuilding Sundabar's defenses. You know Sundabar was heavily sacked during the War of the Silver Marches order. They fled to the Nether Mountains. No one understands this attack unless the coin was given to the Zents and Nesme. This was the 2nd of Elias. As you can tell, these reports, oddly enough, had came in reverse order. The recent one was reported first, and then you started getting word of the rest. Green X's, hill giants. Yulvin, along with goblins, they overran the town and drove the townsfolk into the nearby high forest. All the food was stolen along with every farm animal. Very little value was taken. This was the 22nd of Flame Rule. Jolkoon, after recovery from the cultist raid, giants with ogres attacked, taking everything they could grab. They were chased away with little loss of life, but most food stores were plundered. This was the 24th of Flame Rule. Womford, giants with goblins hit the north side docks on the Desarian River, taking most of the grain and destroying the mills in the process. This was the 2nd of Elias. Amphil charged in on an old man's name day. It's his birthday. Yeah, stealing all the roasted foods and treats for the party. Do you actually laugh during this? You do see some people smirk because it is funny.
I give a very soft.
It's how it's reported, yes.
I catch myself mid-choke trying to stifle it.
It was reported they knocked townsfolk aside and meant no harm. No casualties were reported 7th of Elias. All the hill giants basically form an arch around the location of Waterdeep.
So
Well, this is that territory.
we'll tell them about Nightstone, 'cause I don't think anybody say anything about Nightstone.
I mentioned
I'll tell them that we had stopped at Nightstone to take
You don't need to, your father
a
does.
caravan, merchant Grizzly, to Nightstone, and when we got there, we fought off some orcs.
Yeah.
And they were riding these birds, like you mentioned in one report, and there were scorched footprints around Nightstone, and apparently they dug up a giant obsidian rock that Nightstone gets its name from.
It was a blade.
And when it came out of the ground, it looked like a giant blade. That's how it was described to us, that the giants took. And then we fought the orcs off and helped them get the orcs out.
Salazar speaks up, he says that's odd because everything else that was taken by the fire giants was mechanical. It was all made of metal.
You know about my head? But
Well, I can't tell
It
you why they
sounds
took
like
it, but that's what the town, it's
fire
gone. There's a
giants are
giant hole
collapsed.
in Nightstone where they said the obsidian stone was.
fire giants are clasping, digging up ancient crafts.
If it was a giant
Frost
sword
giants
of
are
some
raiders
kind
raiding
from
outside of their territories that they normally
some
keep
god
to.
or something at some point, who knows what they're gonna do with it.
Perhaps they're
Hill giants that did big birthday parties to get the food. It
Maybe
sounds
they're-
like they took that whole hierarchy and turned it over like an assassin.
Question is, what is that weapon for?
The rest of the construction.
You can tell the place has become very somber after he's read these reports. You can tell just by looking at these guys, they have heard these reports over and over. And now he's adding everything that you guys have told him to this
The
map.
dragon-
And it's
the
just
dragon
wrong.
attacks.
Yeah.
John. So John took
We'll get a paper out.
Dragons
We'll
on
Waterdeep,
it, I
we'll
get-
do the horseshoe, we'll go the west, the south, and we'll see what's going on.
I think I want to go back to Fairbar by now.
After that, your father gives you a nod. He thanks you for showing up. We need to discuss these matters and move on. He's like, I do ask that you guys do stay close for help. Obviously, you guys knew more than what we had expected, and
To be fair, we weren't unaware how much we actually knew.
well, what you've known has contributed
I'm happy to
quite a
be of
bit.
help. And if you make any plans against the Court of Dragon, I'll be more than happy to volunteer for anything, even if it's just mending on
So is there nothing else known about the Zent's involvement? Just that they talked to the giants?
Remelia Haven Tree tells you, I just had an agent posing there as a Zen. And that's just what was reported.
Not to get back to the Court of Dragons, but you're aware about more death and all that, correct?
Okay. And with that, Lord Dugall, never remember, adjourns the meeting.